Hello, everyone. This is Jamie Marboe Nichols, and I am the host of the Heart of Dentistry podcast, where we take the ache out and put the heart back in to our dental profession. Please join me as I interview various guests who have opinions and also solutions to what is going on in our profession and helping us put the heart back in. Hi, everyone. This is Jamie Marboe Nichols, and I am with the Heart of Dentistry. And we like to help take the ache out and put the heart back in. And that is something that my next special guest is very good at. It's his mission, I would say, almost. So I want to introduce all of you in for a treat, Dr. Alan Stern. And he is a writer. He is a retired dentist, and he's an amazing speaker. And I am so honored to have you join me today, Alan. It's okay I call you Alan?
I think we can disclose that we're friends outside of what we're doing here. So I think you better. And
Yeah.
I've been accused of causing heartache. So I don't know if you want to have me.
Well, we are going to jump right into this topic because
So,
part of my mission with the Heart of Dentistry podcast is to talk about tough topics in dentistry. And I know that you don't shy away from them either. That's what I think part of our connection is, and also maybe our sense of humor a little bit here and there.
a
But
little bit.
we're going to jump into some stats, and then we're going to just have a conversation about this. Um, it is known that dentists have a suicide rate of over 7% compared to all other professions that are only at about 0.4%. We also have stats that nearly 25% of dentists have admitted to being depressed or are depressed while they're especially in practice. And those stats only show those that are feeling safe enough to admit it. And
Mhm.
especially now you add in maybe the stigma behind admitting that you're depressed. And then also the not even thinking about whispering the horrible possible outcome to get our people in dentistry out of their pain and misery that so many are doing right now. Um, I've gone through depression. Neither one of us are psychologists, neither one of us are professionals. This is us speaking on what we know, what we have lived through, and what we have witnessed with colleagues. So we're going to stay a little more specific to the dental arena because that's what we are. And we're going to stay specific more towards the in the practice, in the walls of that building that we all go to. And we admit we're with our team members more than we are with our own family when it comes to waking hours. So I want to discuss this epidemic, if I may call it so, in dentistry. And I want us to kind of uncover in this first segment, we're going to do two segments with you. I want us to be able to uncover things to look for. And I'm going to use some of my own experience with my own depression. And I'm going to guess you're going to be able to do that too. So, Alan, let's talk about, I've heard you say a phrase, one of your newer mantras that you've come up with, and I think it's brilliant. You actually just when we were getting on this call and prepping for it, you read it to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that goes so in alignment with what we both are near and dear to our heart, but also what our topic is on today. So welcome, and go ahead, and I'd like you to repeat that to our listeners.
Jamie, my career has morphed and it is morphing as I'm growing, just as yours has.
Mhm.
And what I've learned about what I do as I develop more and more clarity, I speak the language of the operatory and the heart. I blend wit with wisdom, language, laughter with leadership, and compassion with clarity. I want to remind people, the healers of the world, which we are, that we deserve to be whole and healed also. So if
Oh
you
my gosh,
see
I
me
just got
smile,
goosebumps. Say that last sentence again, please. I have goosebumps. Say it again,
I
please.
want to remind all of us who heal that we deserve to be healed and to feel whole as well. And if you see me laughing, if you see me throwing an occasional bad dad joke or a stupid play on words, that is my intent. Because amid all of the tension, we need to step back and smile a little bit because life is good.
Hmm.
There are so many people who would, well, figuratively kill for the problems that we have in dentistry.
Hmm.
And if we learn how to face them properly, then all of these things will be minimized.
I like that. I really like that. I'm gonna challenge you on something though.
Bring it.
What happens when you start laughing? Stop laughing. What happens when you stop finding joy in the little things that most people would love? What do we do? How do we recognize this within our own selves and with amongst our team members? I mean, because I know for me that I do strength finders. In my top five strength finders is positivity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I didn't even know that I was going through depression. I really just thought I was in a funk. Unfortunately, it was a 6 year funk, but by the time that it got to where it showed its ugly head, I had no idea, and it hit me almost like the wind in Idaho does, when it's 40 below. I literally had no idea that I had really truly was depressed. And it took my sister, who knows me really well, who was also thinking I was just going through a funk, finally the guts to ask me, "Are you depressed?"
Mm-hmm.
Because she too had firsthand knowledge of this within her own self and
Mm-hmm.
family. And I can't lie to my little sister. I can't. I can't try. I'm not a good liar to anyone, but to my little sister, never going to happen. And and for me, that was a, a game changer.
I
And
think
I stopped laughing. I stopped enjoying life. I stopped brushing and flossing my teeth every day, and I'm a
wow,
hygienist. That's
classic depression.
depression.
That's classic depression.
Have you ever been
Uh,
depressed? Have you ever gone through some
I
pretty low lows?
I've been miserable, but no, not to that degree. I had a disease that you and I talk about that I think I deserve a Nobel Prize for medicine for. I had PMD, perpetually
Mm,
miserable dentist,
mm.
and everything was always negative.
Perpetually
And
miserable dentist. I like that.
we see a lot of that.
Hmm.
And the causes of that are multifactorial. They have a lot to do with our education. I'm doing more and more research now on our upbringing and the parenting we experienced. That's going to contribute. Um, Comparison trap, perfection trap, and all the pressures that are put on us. And it can make you miserable, and it could cause you to see everything in a negative light, whereas it is not true. Depression is a different animal, and I think I got help before I fell into that wormhole. And I am so lucky
Yeah.
that I was self preserving enough to go find a therapist. And I just stumbled into a world renowned guy who not only took an active interest in me, but took me under his wing.
Yeah.
And were it not for Dr. Arnold Lazarus, and I wish he was here to see this, he passed away about 10 or 15 years ago. Uh, if it weren't for Arnold Lazarus, I don't know where I would have sunk.
Yeah,
Uh,
I say that all the time too. I had two pivotal moments at the same time. One was my that conversation with my sister where she had the love and the guts to ask me that question. The second was attending the Do Retreat, Dental Entrepreneur Women with Ann Duffy, where they uncovered and they went over our strengths, the Gallup Strength Finders. And I remember looking down at those strengths, thinking, I need to retake this. I am none of these things. I'm a fraud. And I I know, it could happen for any reason. It doesn't have to, it can happen to anyone. And that's when it changed. When I finally the fog kind of went away and I started to think more positively and I started thinking about things like Alan Stern's Alanisms. And when I started allowing myself to laugh or to you know, have that drink the Kool-Aid that I can get out of this if I try every single day to do better or something more mentally positive than think about all the negative. But we know a lot of people in dentistry, we hear about them, we don't necessarily know about them, that unfortunately didn't get the help like you did and didn't have the sister asking the tough question and the do retreat to go to remind me that I do have a lot of redeeming qualities that would maybe be missed had I gone through with my plan. And so tell me a little bit about you. I know you have some experience in that area too, firsthand experience or knowledge of people.
Yeah, well, this whole new career that I'm involved in was launched in part by a tragedy, and that is
Mm.
the suicide of a brilliant, beautiful, charismatic, charming 34-year-old dentist named Andrea Bierman. I'm not sure that you knew her. She was
Um,
part of the Hanky community and a couple of other communities that I
oh,
belong
okay.
to.
I remember I didn't
And
know her. I knew of her, and I hate to say it, but I knew of her post
yeah, she
tragedy.
she was great.
Yeah.
She was the kind of person, when she walked into the room, the entire room stopped. Everybody gravitated toward her. Everybody wanted to know what she was thinking, what she was doing. And of course, this was in my pre Enlightenment days. I'm thinking, man, I'll never be like her. I am this compared to her. And one April morning, I walked into my office, turned on my Facebook feed, as every busy dentist does.
Yeah. Morning
See,
Huddle Facebook feed.
no, in the opposite order. Much more
Okay.
important. Um, and I see her picture with RIP.
Mm,
And Andrea was 34 and will never know why. She had everything, supposedly, um, but she died. And I got in touch with my friend Jim Otten, who's on the board at Pankey. We gave a research project and a tribute to Andrea's life. And we talked about depression and suicidality in dentistry. And shockingly, four people, four Pankey alumni, four of the most overachieving dentists in the country came up to us and thanked us.
mm,
And that embarked me on this journey that I'm on
yeah.
to really take the misery out of dentistry and put the real rewards back into it, because we earn those rewards every single day.
Yeah.
But if we fall into this illness, mine I don't think was an illness, mine was a propensity. But
Yeah.
if we fall into this illness, we will stop taking care of ourselves. We'll sleep. We won't get out of bed. We won't eat right. We'll come to work late, if at all.
We'll stop flossing and brushing.
Yeah. And those are things that are out there. And your sister was absolutely right. Our friend Frank King taught us that if you see somebody who's down and out, you may ask them, are you depressed? And if they say yes, you can go on and not only urge them to get help, are you thinking of hurting yourself?
Yeah.
Frank's a
I
comedian. And Frank
yeah, and
said
and
that,
you I've heard him speak and he's actually funny. He doesn't make light of the seriousness of mental wellness. He makes fun of his own journey and things that he's thought of. So he uses himself, in his humor.
yeah,
And he has a really brilliant way of having something that's so dark. actually shed a few lots of laughter in the audience as he's delivering it, but it makes you think twice about it.
Yeah, Frank has a funny way of making a really cool point, and that is if you ask somebody if they're thinking of hurting themselves, they are not going to think, Alan gave me this great idea. I think I'm going to hurt myself. And that's not true. If you ask it with sincerity, you might get a yes out of it. If you get a yes out of them, then you don't let them go. You get them to help one way or another without disconnecting the phone or without leaving their side. It is very important. And as we
Yeah,
dentists to our colleagues, we need to have our ears open.
yeah.
And it,
Sorry if I
no,
interrupted you
go, go,
there.
go, go.
Um, I want to make sure that our listeners know that there is, of course, different types and situations. And again, disclaimer, we are just talking about personal experiences and not, if you are suffering from any depression or if you're having suicidal thoughts, there's help out there. And we will put in a hotline number for anyone that needs help that has listened to this because you will be missed.
Yeah,
You are needed. There is still hope. And we know that there's a chemical imbalance type, and then there's also situational. And I know mine was situational because but I will never, whichever it is, I don't care. I want you to know that depression is depression and being down is being down, and just pay
yes.
attention to your patterns. Um, I would say if you what I'm gonna want to end on and let you say your any last parting words, but I do want to end on the fact that when you go after listening to this, when you go back in on tomorrow or Monday, whatever day it is, please take off the mask. Look what's behind it with your team members. Look at the person. Have you noticed them being a little more disheveled when they come in? Have you noticed them seem like they're disengaged and they used to be the one leading the conversations at the team or the morning huddle or the team meetings? Um, do you notice a change in them in their social life? And if so, be that sister, be that little sister or brother that asks, are you depressed? And don't be afraid to ask the next question.
Hmm.
Have you thought about ending it? Because
Yeah.
those are the questions that got saved my life. And I couldn't lie to my sister. And if you are the one that is depressed, go to a confidant, go to somebody and ask for help and make sure it's the right person that you trust.
Yeah. I think all that is predicated on the team leader, the owner doctor, um, setting an environment of safety.
Hmm.
And one thing that's lacking in a lot of dental offices today is that empathy factor. We're kind of okay with our patients, but more and more I'm seeing associate doctors, hygienists, assistants really getting beat up for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I think the critical part here is we're employees in the eyes of the state. We're staff in front of a callous, uncaring business. We're team members, or if you want to take it up a notch, we're members of a caring community.
Yeah.
And when we care for each other, then we can extend that care out for those we serve. So let's hire people. And I know it's hard to hire the right people, but
Hmm.
keep struggling, keep trying. Because when you have a harmonious group together,
Yeah.
all of these questions become much easier to ask and answer. And hopefully, you could provide a work environment that provides some degree of
Yeah.
comfort for the people working with you.
Yeah. And be vulnerable. I think it starts with you may not be good at being vulnerable, but the second the leaders or you find somebody that's vulnerable and sharing their own experiences, my coaching took a whole new different direction. I used to talk about pathogens and ultrasonics.
Yeah.
And that's still what I get hired for is as a hygiene coach. But I quickly sense disconnect, an environment that's harsh, a leader who's blurry-eyed.
Hmm.
I quickly will go into that mode of I want to see, I want to help. There's more here than just pathogens and ultrasonics use, and if I have to carry the banner and you have to carry the banner to let doctors know that it's okay to be vulnerable and be honest, or a hygienist to say, admit that I'm burned out and I need help, or a team member to say, I feel disconnected with the team, then I'll wear and proudly wave that flag around that there is help. There are people like Alan going out there and screaming from the rooftops and the mountaintops, and Jamie Marboes that want, we're not psychologists, but we've been in the trenches with you. We understand.
Yes. And also, it would be very, very helpful to develop a network, especially for owner docs,
Hmm.
solo practitioners, classic practitioners. Develop a network of mental health professionals.
Yeah, that's a
There are
great
certain
idea.
things that I mean, we know
No,
people, but there are certain things we can't handle. I know very well when I'm in a coaching relationship where I have to draw that line and say, see a
absolutely.
therapist. And I'm developing my own network of therapists in my pocket that I could pull out and say, hey, call this person and do it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. I
It's
had a
out there.
friend drive another friend, pick her up. She had pulled it out of her, and she went and picked her up, and she drove her straight to an urgent care and sat with her in the room with the doctor and just started talking to her.
Yeah.
I know somebody else that drove their brother, who happened to be under influence, and drove him to a local in the community I used to live in, a local walk-in suicide prevention clinic.
Yeah.
So we're just there to help build teams and build the strength and have these Alanisms and have these little side jokes and stuff like that. And this is not something to joke about. I want to bring awareness to it because I know that had I not had somebody that asked me the questions, I probably wouldn't be here today.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not a clinical psychologist. She's not a doctor, a PhD, nothing like that. She's my sister and she cared. That's what the point of this whole thing is that you can not know how to get the help, but you can care enough to get them started in the right direction and follow up. If somebody admits to you that they're depressed and you say, let me know if I can do anything, no, you call and check on them. Do I have your permission to call and check on you? And if
Yeah.
you don't answer, I have this with a family member, and if you don't answer, can we make an agreement right here, right now, that you will text me and you will say, I am fine. My mental health is low, but I'm safe. I just don't want to talk right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yep.
what I have. That's the agreement I have with a friend. So there are little things we can do as just everyday dentist and ex-hygienist. So
Yeah.
thank you for being on, Alan. If they want to get a hold of you, we're going to put it also in the meeting notes. But how can they best get a hold of you?
I've got a Facebook group called Better, Richer, Stronger. You're all invited. And my email is Alan, ALAN, at betterricherstronger.com. I'll speak to anybody.
Yes.
You message me, I'm all yours.
I love that. Thank you. We're gonna come back and have a part two to this, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about how we can prevent this as dentists, practice owners, and what we can do. Some of the things that you're helping our community with already, and I want you to talk about some of those things. So thank you everybody for listening, and we will look forward to Dr. Allen being on again next time.
Thanks, Jamie.
The Heart of Dentistry podcast, where we take the ache out and put the heart back in to our dental profession.